Once a cutter has some experience with falling trees and can complete boring cuts proficiently, cutting the back cut first and quarter cutting are techniques that can be used to directionally fall small trees that are too small to fit both the wedge and the saw in the back cut. Sound or bore your tree to ensure it is sound enough for wedging. Put a normal face cut in. Then half the back cut can be made with the tip of the saw. Bore in slightly at the end to allow a bit more room for a wedge. Insert a wedge and ensure it is seated firmly. The second part of the back cut on a quarter cut should be done on the exit side of the tree. Cut one kerf up from the first boring cut to avoid hitting your wedge. To lift a tree most effectively, the wedges can be hit in an alternating fashion. Removing bark ahead of time will allow the wedges to slide in easier and not have a false lift. Using two wedges also spreads out the load on snags that could sit back on a single wedge.
My first cut, on my back cut, I cut in about a quarter of it, and then I bored just slightly to allow a pocket for my wedge to go in. That pocket, you can see it right there, compared to if I didn't have it, the wedge would butt up and not be able to get very far in. By doing that, I can get that wedge in to get enough lift on the tree so it's not sitting back. Shut my saw off, do my call out. I do my call out after that's done because sometimes that takes some time. Then when I restart, I cut in from the other side, from my exit side, so it takes some pre-planning, up to the back of my hinge wood, and then I make sure I have all the wood in the center of the tree cut. Notice I don't want to go with my bar tip past the cambium layer on my offside. If my bar goes past this outer edge where the wedge is the thickest and the cambium layer is the strongest, there's a good chance that I'll pinch the bar. So my last cut in and then across just a little bit. Get another wedge in, and the wedges can cross. Now this is my lifting wedge, and I can drive the tree over with that wedge. Notice on the back of this, there's a little height difference on my kerf. That will break. This is about a ½ inch here. That'll snap off no problem once you start lifting the tree. That makes it so that the chainsaw isn't cutting in to this lower wedge, breaking the wedge.